yet. Now, though, it's time to meet our My Life guest. And today it is Surrey-based entrepreneur Joanne Temple. So, Joanne, I was trying to explain to people what it is you do, but you will do a far better job. It's basically a photography experience, isn't it? Which aims to celebrate and empower girls aged from kind of 4 right up to 18.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all about, I think, just taking away everything about looks and appearance and image and just not talking about it through photography. And I think, with the things that are thrown out there in the media today with the images of girls and how they're photoshopped, airbrushed, and how the girls are trying to live up to these visual representations of how they think they should look.
Representations that aren't real. That's what gets me, and I'm constantly drumming it into my too. These images you see aren't realistic. They've been tampered with.
They absolutely have been tampered with, and I think girls are finding that. What was I reading the other day? The Girl Guiding Survey recently brought out I think it's the Attitudes for Girls, their survey that they do every year. And a lot of the girls, spoke about how they feel that they need to look a certain way, and they've got an immense amount of pressure on how to look on social media. And I think, I think my heart just went out to these girls. I've always had a huge empathy for women and girls as they're growing up, especially in their teenage years. And even before teenage years, the tweens these days, and the girls are getting younger and younger and worrying about what they look like. And it really saddens me. And I think I've been a photographer now for about 7 years and photographing families and seeing the girls within those families being slightly awkward in front of the camera, not really knowing what to do, wanting to look a certain way and behave a certain way. And I thought, it's just ruining all the fun of a photography experience.
For me, it's the face, right? You know the face I mean. I'm going to show.
I know what face you're going to do.
The face I mean. What's with the face? Why do you have to suck your lips in like that? And the peace sign. This is what I get a lot of with my daughter. I'm like, I just want a nice photo of you, Lois. Can you stop posing? Hand on the hip. I mean, the problem with her though, she's so cheeky. She'll go, well, that's what you do, mummy. I'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily do what I say, but do as I preach. Those are the rules. I'm an adult. I'm a grown up.
No, I know.
But all of us, I think, can feel really uncomfortable in front of the camera. And
Absolutely,
I'm of an age where I've. My friends take the mickey out of me because I've got like a pose, a certain way I stand to try and look my best, shall we say. And, you do this for a living. You must have seen all of this over the years. But what's nice about the photography you do with these young girls is that you try and make them feel relaxed. So you take them often outdoors.
Yes.
You make the photography about their hobbies, their interests.
Absolutely. And I talk to the girls before the shoot. I send out a questionnaire before the shoot, so I get to know all about their character, what they're into. I don't like talking about clothes. I don't like talking about what makeup they're going to wear, or, obviously the older girls, not the younger girls. But, I just don't want to talk about anything to do with their looks. It's all about their character and all about what they're into. And I think generally, I mean, like you just said earlier, people do feel uncomfortable in front of the camera. And it's not just about me pointing the lens at them and saying, be yourself. It's not just as easy as that, because that would make them feel very awkward. I do a lot of activity based stuff throughout the shoot, and it's just a lot of fun. And I'm a big kid myself, and it reminds me of when I was younger with taking images of me and my friends. So.
And I think if it helps strengthen a positive self-image, if it helps with a young girl's self-worth, her confidence, then that can only be a good thing.
Absolutely.
How do they react when they see the final photos?
Well, the teenage girls, I get a lot of, oh, that's sick.
Which I believe means good. Yeah, that's a good thing, people. It's okay.
Yeah. And the younger ones just love it. And, and I love photographing the younger ones because you've got that sort of natural, they haven't got any barriers up yet, and they're very sort of natural anyway. And, they love the photograph, and they just love the experience. And they, I've had very sort of shy girls that I've photographed before, and what I find really rewarding, and I love photographing them because they really come out of their shelves by the end of the photo shoot, and often saying to their parent, can I do it again? I want to go back and do it again.
And I bet the families love it because, you know that I'm always desperate for a nice photo of us all.
Yes.
And it's really, really hard to achieve. In fact, I saw a really funny thing. I was just trying to find it. I can't find the exact thing now. Someone sent it on Facebook the other day, you know, kind of the reality behind these beautiful pictures that suddenly appear is a mother going, look, please, will you just sit still and look at the camera? And then, of course, the photo appears, #blessed.
I know.
You know, you have no idea the trauma that has gone through to try and get those little darlings to look at the camera.
No, I know, exactly.
So it must be nice for them then to have, you know, a memento, something that they can keep and look back on in years to come.
Yes, definitely. And I think, you know, often the teens and tweens are overlooked, that age group. I mean, you get a lot of newborn photographers, you get a lot of wedding photographers, and we forget about the teens and tweens. But, you know, I think the way that I photograph the girls and the whole experience behind it is just based on fun. And it's just about having fun and letting loose and not worrying about how they're standing, how to put their hands, what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, with their interests and hobbies, it's I mean, they don't have to have interests and hobbies to be photographed by me, because it can be literally like an expression that they give, or a moment, or I'll place them, or we'll go to a setting or a location where it suits them or that they're familiar with, and it will be about them, you know, just their personalities and their character, and I'll capture those moments of them. But the girls that do have hobbies and passions, it really distracts them away from actually thinking about what they look like.
Posing with that duck face.
Yeah, and the ironic thing is that these girls get these images back, and they're, you know, they absolutely love them because they are just being themselves, and it's not about how they look. It's nothing to do with that. But, you know, we do need to capture memories of our kids, and, you know, we have to do that with their physical appearance, because that's the only way you can capture. So
I remember as kids, my mum and dad had traipsed me and my sisters into Debenhams. It was always Debenhams, and you remember they had like in-store photographers.
I do, and I had them done myself.
Did you? You queue up, and my mum had always dressed the three of us in matching clothes.
Yes.
Tartan dresses, I remember, featured heavily one year. And my middle sister absolutely hated having her photo done, like proper phobia. And literally every time they would try to do it, she would vomit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one year, all down the back of my hair.
Oh,
Never quite forgiven her.
Did the
for
photographer
that.
catch that?
No, thankfully. But you must come across people like that, people who are absolutely terrified almost of having their photo taken.
I have within families, and I have, and it's, you know, it's you know, sometimes it can even be the parents. With girls, I think generally, you know, I think obviously their parents have spoken to them before they hire me, so they obviously want to have it done.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, it's so many different. I mean, every single girl I photograph is so different and so unique in her personality, and I think, you know, just drawing that out of them, even if they're a very quiet girl or even a super confident girl, is just so much fun, and I enjoy it so much. So.
And it's capturing that moment, isn't it? That kind of, that natural smile, that laugh, that
it is,
the essence of
it. Definitely is.
Them. In fact, on that, I read this on Facebook. So I get everything from Facebook, don't I? Isn't this a lovely thing to think about? 6-year-olds laugh an average of 300 times a day.
Oh, brilliant!
Whereas us adults only laugh 15 to 100 times a day. There's a lot to be said for being 6, isn't there?
There's a lot to say. Yeah, we can learn a lot from 6-year-olds, definitely.
How did you get into this game? Have you been doing it a long time, or?
Well, I've been photographing since I was 10, and I was given my first SLR camera by my dad, and I've just had a passion for it ever since. I've just been always taking pictures throughout all my life, like as a young kid with my close group of friends, roping them into taking pictures, putting them in funny poses, getting them to do weird things. I think Brilliant. I asked one of my friends, Liz, to actually put half makeup on her face and half not on the other. And I took her out to this woodland, and she had to stand in front of a tree, and I had to capture the non-makeup side of her face behind the tree, and the other side, you know, I used to get them to do very weird things. And but I've always
very good friends.
But, yeah, I did.
So they would agree to that. No,
I did. But yeah, no, just from a young age. And I think, you know, that I love photographing the families, and I think the passion for photographing girls has come from just my empathy for them, and growing up in a very women-dominated family with lots of girl cousins and lots of very strong women with very positive influences on me. And I think, you know, I just wanted to share some of what I've learned from my mum, my gran, my aunties, or give it sort of back in a way through my photography to other girls.
Bit of girl power.
Bit of girl power, yeah.
If people want to find out more about what you do, how can they do that?
Well, you can look on my website, which is www.frankandbloom.com. And also just look up Frank and Bloom on my Facebook page. And I'm also on Instagram, which is Frank_and_Bloom. And yeah, that's where you can find out about.
And how do you come up with the name?
Be frank with yourself and bloom because of it. It's just be honest with who you are. And it's not just through photography. It's through life as well. Being true to who you are with people and around people and how you act and just being yourself and you will grow from that. You will bloom. So
an important message.
Yes.
It's been lovely meeting you.
And you,
Joanne.
Thank
you so much. And we'll take a look at that website. Is there one particular shop that you're most proud of, or is that too difficult?
Do you know what? I was thinking about this today, but I think it's one of the shots is with, if you look on my website on the girls page, there's a shot with a girl with a cat by her window, and I just love that image because it's very emotive and it's very. She loved her cat, and I mean really loved her cat, and she's just standing there by the window holding this cat, and you can see that love in her face, and I think that's one of my favourites. Yeah,
beats bobbing down your hair in Debenhams, doesn't it? Eh?
It does.
Joanne Temple, thank you so much. It's now though, it's time to meet our My Life guest, and today it is Surrey-based entrepreneur Joanne